This is AgGrad Live.
We have all of the different segments within the cotton.
The show that explores what it's really like to work in the ag industry.
So making sure that we get policy and regulatory issues
straight from the people who live it every day. Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. We are back at my favorite time every week, which is AgGrad Live. This is a chance that I get to sit down with one of the winners of the AgGrad 30 Under 30, just to talk to them about what they do and what they're working on. And it's just a lot of fun. I mean, these are the top 30 individuals under the age of 30 that we're able to find in the industry, and they've always got some interesting work happening, and today is no exception. So appreciate those of you who are able to join us live. If you missed part of this or you want to listen or watch elsewhere, the other places you can go for this, if not on the AgGrad Facebook page, are also on the AgGrad Live podcast or the AgGrad YouTube channel. So I wanted to give you that reminder as well. But let's bring on our guest here today. We have Allyson Jones-Brimmer, who is the Director of Industry Relations for the Animal Agriculture Alliance. Allyson, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And you are tuning in from beautiful Arlington, Virginia, just outside the DC area. Is that right?
That is correct. And it actually is pretty nice out there today.
I was peeking out your window there. Actually.
Yeah, I've been kind of stormy lately. I kind of had a thunderstorm roll through every day for the last few days, it seems. But today, nice and sunny and pretty good temperature too.
Nice. Well, every time I've ever been to the DC area, I've always just taken the metro around. So are you all along a metro stop where you just hop on a metro and head down to the hill if you need to?
Yeah, definitely. We are on the Courthouse Metro Station, so just a couple of stops into Virginia from DC.
Cool. Well, maybe if you could start by just giving those who've never heard of the Animal Agriculture Alliance just an overview of kind of what capacity you serve and why the organization exists.
The Animal Ag Alliance is a industry-wide nonprofit organization, and our overall mission is to bridge the communication gap between farm and fork. So helping people better understand modern animal agriculture and what all goes into animal care and environmental sustainability in livestock production. In my role specifically as Director of Industry Relations, I do a lot of our member-facing communications and am responsible for bringing on new members and prospects and kind of marketing the organization as well.
Cool. And you mentioned your members. Are these members farmers and ranchers, or what's sort of the makeup of the members of the Animal Ag Alliance?
The biggest sector of our membership is industry associations, so other producer groups, checkoff organizations, membership-based organizations, really covering the whole spectrum of animal agriculture. So you've got dairy and beef and poultry and pork and all livestock sectors, even some aquaculture as well. So in addition to the livestock groups that are members of ours, we also have a lot of companies that serve animal agriculture, like animal health and animal feed companies and genetics companies, as well as producers themselves. Everything from small family farms to larger corporate farms are members of ours, and then a lot of individuals support us as well. All just people who have a passion for animal agriculture and protecting the future of animal ag.
Sure. And for those groups, what is it what problem do you help them solve for themselves? If they're coming to you and wanting to join and be a member, what's usually kind of the biggest motivations there?
Well, our organization was formed a little over 30 years ago because animal rights activists were starting to turn their attention more aggressively on animal agriculture. So we've been monitoring those organizations from the inception of the Animal Ag Alliance and have a really in-depth background knowledge and current knowledge of what the organizations are doing, what tactics they're using to try to harm animal agriculture. So a lot of times when a group or a farm comes to us and is looking at membership, it's because they want some of that information about who's out there opposed to animal agriculture, what are they doing, what tactics are they using, and how can animal agriculture protect themselves. So we have some really great resources on farm security, how to hire the proper workers for your farm, and what to do if someone were to show up at your farm who's not invited and who's maybe there for the wrong reasons or opposed to animal agriculture. What do you do to prepare for those situations, prevent them, and if you unfortunately find yourself in them, how do you handle the situation once you're in it? So we have a lot of resources along those lines, and that's typically what people are looking for when they come to the Alliance and are interested in membership.
Yeah, definitely. And I would imagine there's a lot of interest that, especially, there's been incidents recently that highlight, some of those infiltrations. Now, are you from an animal ag background originally, or how'd you end up here?
That's one of the most frequent questions I get when I'm out and about at industry events and meeting new people is, what did your family do? What kind of farm did you grow up on? That kind of thing. I'm actually not from a farm background. I'm from a very rural community in upstate New York, closer to the Canadian border than to New York City. For those listeners who don't necessarily realize, there is a whole state attached to New York City. So really rural area, primarily a dairy production area. So I was driving by dairy farms on a multiple basis, a lot of different sizes. And it was actually involvement in 4-H, wanted to show my horses at the county fair, and then getting involved in FFA and agricultural education in middle school and high school that really started the path to where I am today. Like a lot of really involved FFA members, I thought ag teacher might be a good fit for me. So I attended Cornell University for animal science and ag education. Ended up deciding toward the end of my time at Cornell that being in the classroom as a teacher wasn't the best fit for me. But I really started to look more into marketing, communications, and education through kind of more informal routes. So I think my role here at the Alliance and the work that our organization does really connects with that passion of mine for helping people better understand where their food comes from, just like I was able to learn through my involvement in FFA and in high school ag classes, helping share that, but not doing so in the classroom.
Sure. Yeah. And I that's something I actually hear a lot of is people who love educating others about agriculture, but then decide maybe the classroom isn't the perfect environment for them and looking for other places to go. So how did you find the Animal Ag Alliance? I mean, what was it that drew you to this opportunity as instead of maybe some of the others you were exploring?
Right out of college, I worked for Farm Credit for a few years. I was a crop insurance agent back in northern New York, so covering a territory that included my hometown. It was a really great experience for me. I loved the farmers that I worked with and really enjoyed my coworkers, but I knew it wasn't the forever fit that I was looking for. So I was exploring some opportunities within Farm Credit, and one of the things that I did there was basically an internal internship or kind of job shadowing experience where I was working with the Knowledge Exchange Department. So that's the group. A lot of farm credit associations have them, that they do a lot of educational events for the customers, the members of Farm Credit. They do a lot of research, a lot of reports, and share a lot of information with producers so that they can best do their job.
But the next place I was wanting to go was to ask you about your culture there at Animal Ag Alliance. From the outside looking in, it seems like you all have this fantastic company culture or organizational culture where you all love your jobs, you're mission focused. Tell us more about that, and what do you think contributes to the success of the culture at the Animal Ag Alliance?
That's definitely true. And I'm not just saying that because I know they're all watching. But we just have a really good team. Everyone's really well connected. And I think everybody just has a lot of trust in each other to be able to get the job done. So we can rely on each other to carry through projects. We can lean on each other's strengths because we know what those are. And people can kind of take projects and run with it, and it's going to be finished and done with a really high quality. So I think that's really important for us, having a high level of trust in each other to be able to achieve the organization's mission and provide the most value to our members. Kay also provides really great leadership. She's been with the organization for about 25 years, but really is in tune with our needs as well as our members' needs. So she has the history and knows a lot of has a lot of connections across the industry that she's helping to pass along to us. But she's also very aware of our needs and our desires as employees and what we like flexibility, being able to work from home occasionally, and just making sure everybody has the tools that they need to get the job done.
No, that's fantastic, and it seems to be so rare. I talk to the people I talk to that are unhappy where they work. It often has a lot to do with just culture and not feeling like part of the team. And like I said, just from the outside looking in, my experiences with all of you, it seems like you have just a fantastic culture there. So that's got to be a really, really cool environment to work in. And speaking of kind of day to day, what does your day to day look like? Obviously, you're in charge of those relationships, doing industry relations. But what does that look like when you show up for work on a daily basis?
It's not often the same every day, which is part of the reason why I like doing what I do. We do a lot of travel, but that kind of, for me, depends on the time of year. A lot of ag meetings are in the fall and the winter, so my travel schedule isn't quite as heavy right now, but it might be speaking at an event or preparing a presentation to give at an industry event. Some of the work that I do is just responding to member requests. So sometimes it's as simple as, how do I log into the website, to a more complex question like, what is this activist group that we're seeing in our area, and what are they doing? What do we need to be on the lookout for? And sometimes we have the answers, and sometimes we need to do some more digging. So I work with the rest of the team and our interns that we have to make sure that those member requests and that those research projects are done. And then I also am responsible for writing a lot of our member-facing communication. So a monthly newsletter that goes out to a broad audience of members and supporters, as well as a newsletter just for members, and kind of alerts and informational pieces as things arise, as they get to us. And then I do some writing for trade media and to give pieces to our members to be able to use in their publications as well.
In that example you mentioned, where if they're really wondering about, should I be concerned about X group or some sort of threat, what does that look like? If you need to do some more research, do you have people on the team that will go kind of dive into understanding that, or how does that work sort of behind the scenes?
Yeah, it is a team effort. Kind of starts with, has anyone ever heard of this, or does anyone have any information on here that would be a good starting point? And a lot of times we do, based on the connections or the history that we are aware of. But if not, it really just starts out with a Google search and some diving into social media or search results and figuring out more information. We've been tracking a lot of different people who are involved with or in the leadership of animal rights activist organizations. So we can sometimes use those connections where someone moves to a new organization or someone starts a new organization, and having that tracking history really helps us as a starting point for our research, that someone who's not been following that individual for a long time might not be able to get the same kind of in-depth research done as we were able to.
Okay. And I know just last month you had your big annual stakeholder summit. Tell us about that. What's the reason for the annual event, and kind of what are some highlights or takeaways from that?
Our annual conference brings together all of our members are invited, as well as non-members, and just kind of reflects the diversity of our membership. We've got all sectors of animal ag represented there, as well as people from associations, farmers, veterinarians, people from animal health and feed companies, all represented there. So it's a really great time to bring everyone together. It's one of the few industry conferences that does bring together all of those industry sectors. A lot of times it's very focused on one topic or one species group. So a lot of our members like that networking, and they don't get to see a lot of these same people in their daily lives throughout the year. So our conference actually aligns with the 3 areas of our mission, which are connect, engage, and protect. So it's a day-and-a-half conference, and we try to do a half day devoted to each area. So connecting, reaching outside, reaching others within the industry. We usually kick it off, or have about 3 of the past 4 years kicked it off with a consumer focus group. So it's literally people who were pulled together from a focus group type mentality, kind of off the street, to figure out what they view of animal agriculture. What do they look for when they're purchasing animal protein, and we get to hear some crazy ideas about what thought process they have about purchasing. But it's a really great way to get everybody in the right mindset for the event and really be ready and open to learn and excited for what potential opportunities we have to engage. So we focus on engaging key influencers like dietitians and the media. So we usually have speakers who are presenting on those topics. And then the Protect side is the day where we really talk more in depth about animal rights activism or other types of threats that animal agriculture is facing and how we can protect the future of the industry.
And do you all specify which species you represent, or I mean, like aquaculture, is that included? Or I keep thinking about dairy, beef, swine, but I imagine that and poultry, of course. But does it go beyond that?
Yeah, definitely. We've got some sheep members as well as some aquaculture members. Over time, we've also developed relationships and have a small amount of membership from other animal use sectors. So we have good relationships with the biomedical research people and the zoos and aquariums and entertainment sectors. So not necessarily as much of our membership come from those areas, but we all have a lot in common in terms of what work we're trying to do and who might be opposed to the work that we're doing.
Very, very interesting. And I think when people hear things like industry relations and they get to work with a lot of different people and bring those people together and solve problems for them, that sounds exciting. But I know with any job, there's also the part that nobody sees, that it's actually really hard. For you, what's kind of the most challenging aspect of doing what you do day to day?
Probably the most challenging aspect is just prioritizing what is going to be the best for our members as well as the best for the organization as a whole, and making sure I'm finding that balance, because we get a lot of requests that are a bit outside of the scope of what we do. So trying to be helpful and responsive to all of our members' needs, but at the same time put some boundaries on it so that we're not spending time doing things that don't align with our mission or don't move the organization forward. So kind of striking that balance, finding that priority, and making sure that our small team of 5 people full time is able to do the most good and the most useful and high priority work for the organization.
Yeah, I totally can relate to that. It's it's very, very difficult being a small team as well. It's like, as much as I would love to, get everyone a job who wants a job, it's just I have to focus on being effective. Otherwise, you can dilute yourself and end up being totally ineffective at all. I think it's amazing what you all can do with a team of 5. One of those programs that I was connected with through Animal Ag Alliance was the College Aggies Online. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think probably some viewers of this show or listeners of this show on the podcast will have interest.
Definitely. College Aggies Online is our annual scholarship program. So we will be going into our 11th year of the program, and it's not your average scholarship where you kind of fill out an application and get some money. It's actually a competition. So students who participate in the program, it lasts for about 9 weeks in the fall, and if you can participate as an individual or a club. So individuals are given weekly trainings or resources that they can use, and then they're given weekly challenges that they can carry out. And a lot of it is about using social media or online avenues to advocate for agriculture. So creating posts for social media, different channels like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, writing blog posts, interviewing people about their food choices to help take a step back and realize what listening needs to go on and what's important there, and how to handle negativity online, which inevitably happens to several of our students over the course of the program. So all the activities, all the trainings, all the challenges that they complete earn them points, and the students with the most points at the end of the competition earn scholarships. We also have a club division, which is more focused on campus or community activities, like hosting a event on campus to celebrate agriculture, or meeting with your campus food service directors, or hosting a food drive. So just creating those in-person opportunities to advocate for agriculture. Again, they earn points for everything they do based on a rubric, and the club with the most points at the end earn the top scholarships. We also do have smaller prizes throughout the whole competition. So in total, last year we gave out about $25,000 in prizes and sponsorships to the students who were high performing throughout the competition.
I think that's so great, because what I love about that, it's got the added benefits of it kind of puts them in a situation to actually try to engage and try to reach out. And my experience is they love it. And so it puts them out there. It gives them some really great work to do. And then, of course, those that win the money, I'm sure, are very, very happy about that point as well. So that starts just in a couple months, right? In September?
Yeah, sign up is open now. You can get to that by going to the College Aggie section on our website, which is animalagalliance.org. So sign up. Anyone who will be a undergraduate or graduate student in the fall can sign up starting now, but the program will officially kick off September 16th, and that's when we'll kind of get rolling on more information and what the calendar looks like and things like that.
Great. Well, in your role, you're kind of like right at the a point of what can be controversy. I mean, between, activist groups that very much don't want to see this business exist, and of course, people trying to run their animal agriculture business. Does that ever worry you about kind of being so close to the fire, or feel like it's a target put on you based on the work that you do? Is that ever a concern?
Not really. We do have to be mindful of security and safety. I think our organization and our staffs and our members could be targets of groups that totally disagree with what we do. So being a little bit more mindful of that is always important. We definitely get some messages through social media that are not so nice, but kind of taking it in stride, always being mindful of the potential risks, and coupling that with the fact that, we all just love what we do. I really enjoy the farmers that we get to serve and the farmers that we get to work with, and our members are really a pleasure to work with as well. So kind of making sure I find that balance and making sure I keep that in mind as we go through everything is really helpful for keeping the positive attitude about it.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that, we do a pre-interview form before this interview, and then talk a few minutes before we start, and how much you wanted to make sure we focus on your job. I mean, it's just clear you love your work, because you really wanted to focus on the Alliance, the work that you're doing. And I think that says it all, just about how much you really enjoy what you do. If there are other people out there, because you didn't start off on this track, you were going to be, an ag teacher. If there's other people out there that kind of want to end up where you are, what do you think has helped you most kind of get to where you are today?
I think internships and making connections are really important. So I had an internship pretty much every summer throughout my my college career, and just staying aware, building relationships with others, and keeping up with those connections have all contributed to where I am today. I think if there are any college students out there that are interested in this career path, College Aggies Online is definitely a resume builder, a skill builder, and a connection and networking opportunity for you. We also have internships year-round at the Animal Ag Alliance. So we have 2 interns right now for the summer. We also typically have one for the fall and the spring. So there are lots of opportunities out there. I think a lot of things that contributed and came together for me to fit in this role was a little bit of a background in sales, a little bit of a background in education and that communication, and being able to bring those two together in the role that the Alliance needed at the time when I started, which I've definitely continued using skills from both of those aspects.
All right, I want to ask you just one more question about kind of living in DC, because that's something that's on people's radar. It seems to be, just like where so much excitement happens. What do you think is different about working in DC versus maybe if you're back in upstate New York or elsewhere?
There is a lot going on. I always joke that I could probably go to a reception or a happy hour every day if I wanted to. So that's always exciting. There's always things to do from the touristing aspect to just everyday living, always a lot going on, which you'll get in any city. But I think DC is unique in the location and the history that's here, and the museums and the monuments and everything that's here is really exciting. I really love when I get to fly back into DC and overlook a lot of the monuments and landmarks and think, wow, it's really cool that I live here. So I really do love that. But being a country girl from a rural area, it's not too far out into Virginia or Maryland that you're seeing farms, you're seeing horses and cattle, and still having some of that opportunity to see the more relaxed lifestyle that goes on and get out of a little bit of the traffic, although that kind of spreads pretty far around here. So I think for me, it's a good mix and a good fit, and it's been fun.
Cool. So you don't get enough animal agriculture at work. You've got to go find it after hours out in the country. What about let's end on a positive note here. Is there any one experience, and maybe there's several, you can generalize if you'd like, that you can point to and say, wow, at that moment I just knew I was doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Something that just felt really accomplished or just made you feel really good about the work you do.
If I thought about it, there's probably a few that I can point to. I really do enjoy speaking to groups and being out on farm tours and things like that. But we did have one of our really great members reached out to us right before our annual conference this year to really outline how a project that our team had worked on, and really we thought we didn't get very far on this. We were contacting a city mayor about their support of some anti-meat activities. So we didn't really get a response from them, but this member kind of organized some groups in that state and around that city to continue reaching out to that mayor, and really made a difference and ended up inviting the mayor to their annual meeting, their annual conference, have invited them to go on farm tours and meet with other farmers. And the mayor's really started to understand and see the value of agriculture in his state and what it provides to their economy and through jobs, as well as everybody eating and having that nutrition on their plate. So right before our annual conference, that member shared that story with us and really expressed his appreciation and shared the value that the Alliance provides. And just little tidbits like that always help our team realize that we're on the right track, doing really good work for the best people in the world, farmers and ranchers who are providing everybody the food that they need to survive.
Great. Well, it certainly is a really valuable niche that you all serve, helping get the word out and engage and protect. And so I really appreciate what you all do. I've always been impressed with the Alliance, and congratulations to you. Very well deserved on the AgGrad 30 under 30. If anybody's wants to follow up with anything you mentioned here or with your work with the Alliance, what's a good place to send them for that? Yeah,
check out or connect with me on LinkedIn, just under my name, Allyson Jones-Brimmer, as well as on Twitter, which you can check out the Animal Ag Alliance Twitter, which is @AnimalAg, and then I'm Allyson J_B. So LinkedIn and Twitter are probably the best places. I mentioned before our website, which is animalagalliance.org, and then we also have a blog, which is animalagengage.com. So a lot of ways to find us.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Allyson. Really appreciate you taking the time. Sorry for my little snafu of having to cut out there earlier, but fantastic work, and congratulations again on the AgGrad 30 under 30. I hope people do follow up with you and the excellent work you all are doing at Animal Ag Alliance. And for those of you tuning in, thanks so much for watching live. We'll be back next week with another episode before we take a break for the 4th of July holiday. I can't believe this year is like halfway over. But Allyson, thanks again, and we'll be back with another episode next week.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining AgGrad Live. Visit aggrad.com, that's AgGrad, to join the community, create your profile, and learn more about careers in the agriculture industry.